Welcome to the Jill on Money podcast. It is Friday, February 26th, and we're so glad you're joining us today. If you want to get on the air and ask a question directly to me, and special bonus, you get to hear Mark's voice, send us an email. Ask Jill at jillonmoney.com or send us something from the contact button on our website at jillonmoney.com. Tell us what your question is and say, I want to come on the air with you. Maybe you wrote to us a while back and we were just jammed up and we didn't respond to you and you now want to jump the line and now say, hey, I want to do this. Then let us know. That's what Jennifer did. And now, Jennifer from Atlanta, all the circumstances of your life have changed a little bit. So good morning and welcome to the program. What can we do for you?
Good morning, and thanks for taking my call. It was so good to talk to you and to talk to Mark this morning. My primary question is where we should be, my husband and I should be investing additional funds. And as you're right, our circumstances did change. My husband got laid off from his job on January 4th this year. Thankfully, he has gotten reemployed very quickly and started a new job just 2 weeks ago.
Holy smokes. Let me ask you something. How did he get reemployed so quickly? What happened? Is he like a programmer or something? Like, is he in high demand? What does he do?
He is a project manager for audiovisual, and he just has wonderful contacts, and he has a great reputation in his field. And within a few weeks, he had leads, and he started talking to people, and is already reemployed. And he's loving his new position. So it's great.
Oh, that's so great! Congratulations to him. So that's fantastic. So,
Yes.
How old are you guys?
I am 48. He is 50.
Okay. Do you have kids?
He has 2 grown sons that we are not supporting.
Oh, my favorite kind of grown individuals. That's fantastic. In his new job, how much is he earning?
82.
You work as well. So tell me how much you earn.
146.
A little bit about more details about real life stuff. Home, do you own a home?
We do. We have a home that we just refinanced within the last year. It's worth about $400. We owe $260. It has now a 20-year mortgage at 2.75.
Oh my God. Isn't it amazing to look at those interest rates? Just to say that out loud. 20-year at 2.75. Fantastic.
Yeah, we couldn't pass it up.
No, I agree. Tell me a little bit about how you've been managing your retirement assets. So on your $146,000, do you max out your retirement contribution?
Yes, I have a work 403B that I max out with a TSP. So that's getting $19,500 a year plus some matching funds from work. They match 5%. We have additional funds with a financial advisor who's done really well for us. But he, of course, charges 1% of fees under management. So I don't know whether additional funds should go to him or whether I should put additional funds into my husband's 401k.
How much money does he manage for you, the financial advisor?
He has for us... in IRAs, we've got 272, a Roth, he's got 225, and some taxable brokerage accounts of 180.
That IRA, that 272, is that from your husband's old retirement account?
Those are old retirement accounts from him and from myself, yes.
Okay. Is he eligible for a 401k in his new job?
He is, but they won't let him contribute to it, and they won't match to it until he's been there 6 months, so not till August.
All right. Well, that's around the corner, basically. And he's 50, so he could put more money away. What else is going on that I should know about? Any weird debt that's floating around or any rental properties, anything like that?
We have no debt other than the mortgage. Credit cards and cars are all paid off. We do have our basement we rent out as an Airbnb. So that almost fully covers our mortgage, and it has been solidly booked for 2.5 years now.
What? Wait a minute.
Amazing,
I got to hear
right?
about this. Hold on a second. So it has a separate entrance?
It does. It has a separate entrance, separate driveway.
You Airbnb this. Even though you make a bunch of money, you guys are totally great. I mean, how much money's in your 403B right now, total?
About almost 200.
I mean, you've got all these assets. What made you think about the Airbnb thing?
My sister-in-law brought it up, and I thought, why would anybody want to rent out our basement in the suburbs? I never thought it was going to rent. So we started it, and we had a probably 6 months worth of kind of intermittent folks coming for the weekend. And then the current tenant has been with us 2.5 years, and he didn't want to sell his home where he lives. So he comes down here for work and stays with us. And he's literally been renting our basement for 2.5 years.
So what is that like having a stranger right there? Do you see him? How does that work?
We do see him on occasionally. We see him when he comes and goes. He's been here long enough that we know him and his wife very well now. They bring their dog and we hang out on the deck sometimes and our dogs all play. So it's been really wonderful. When we've had short-term tenants in the past, sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. Since they have their own entry, we can close ourselves off from them completely. So
that's awesome. Well, good for you. I totally wouldn't do that because I'm like just a weird about those things. I actually feel like kind of jealous that you are the kind of, like, because you basically are now living expense free in your house, right?
Almost, yeah.
God. Okay. How much money do you think you have to invest at this point? Now, presuming that your husband has the ability to put money into that retirement account, come August, but what do you think is available on a monthly basis?
I'm thinking around $5,000 a month.
Wow. You like this dude, right?
I do. And he just sent me an update from last year and said last year our accounts were up by 12%. And so far this year, they're up by 4.5%. And I don't know whether my husband's new 401k is going to be Roth eligible or not. His old 401k, his old job was all Roth contributions. But all they've told us about the new 401k is that it's going to be held at the principal and managed by Wells Fargo.
Okay. Well, now that you tell me that, I can almost guarantee that it's going to be a terrible plan because they have essentially, first of all, Wells Fargo, oh my God, and principal. It's basically an annuity contract inside of a retirement account. So it's probably going to be fairly high fees. So here's what I think. If there's a Roth option, then he should max it out. Okay. And then you'll let us know when you get the options, the actual choices inside. Then we'll have to go through the options and find the cheapest fund, which is obviously going to be just an index fund. But because it's a gosh darn annuity and it's managed by Wells Fargo, I can almost bet that that's going to be like, oh, it's an index fund and it's like a 0.5% fee instead of 0. But if there's a Roth option, we want to use it. And if there's a match, we want to see if that's eligible. If not, you like the financial advisor? I don't know. I feel bad. You could totally do it yourself. You could open up an account. I mean, you could reduce your fees just by saying, well, look, let me just take my old retirement accounts and roll it into, some other place and do it yourself. But you like the person. I hate to tell you to go elsewhere if you like the advisor,
I'm just very wary of fees because obviously I know that's going to cut into our long-term money. So
yeah, well, just know that you start every year at minus 1%. Does the advisor do anything else but manage money for you?
Yes, he is full service. He looks at your future planning. He gives advice on everything. He talks about when we're going to be eligible to retire and how monies are looking, et cetera. We would ideally both like to retire in our early 60s. I'll have a pension coming from my job. So that'll be nice. Obviously, the longer I work, the bigger my pension grows.
Yes, I love that. Look, I mean, you'll save the 1%, and sometimes that 1% is just like a little bit for you might be a peace of mind cost. So I don't want to tell you to not do that. I come from that world. I used to be 100 years ago a financial advisor who would charge 1%. And I remember having clients like you who would be perfectly capable of managing their own money who would still hire me. And why would they do that? They would do that because they said, well, you know what? I don't want to think about it. And it's a luxury and I'm happy to do it. And so if you feel that way, like you're getting value, this guy's doing full financial planning, it's customized. He's not hosing you, by the way, because, frankly, with less than $1 million under management, 1% is pretty cheap, relatively speaking. I don't think that this is a bad thing. I do think we need more information about hubby's new retirement account. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe all of a sudden the principal and Wells Fargo have very cheap options inside. I would be delighted if that's the case.
But if they have a Roth option, max it out, even if the fees are a little bit higher.
Yes.
Up to his full 19.5 plus whatever his over 50.
Wait a minute. It's 19.5 plus he's 50. He gets to put in an extra 6,500. So he gets to pop some real money in there. And it definitely, if there's a Roth option, I would absolutely do it.
And if no Roth option, put in the minimum to get the match and then give the rest to the advisor.
I think so. Unless we look at this and say, oh my God, the cost is much better than we thought. I mean, look, it could be that all in on that retirement account, it's more than 1%. That's why I'm thinking that maybe you just go to the advisor. In other words, there's a cost of the actual plan. Essentially, it could be that, it's 1.5% a year for him to use that plan. And then all of a sudden that maybe the 1% is better for you. So let's see what that plan is, and then we can make better determination. Sound like a good deal?
Sounds great.
All right. Anything else that's on your mind?
One other quick question, if you've got a minute. I
Sure.
wonder if I should change my allocation to my work TSP.
Tell me what you got.
So I've got 9% going into a Roth,
Mm-hmm.
5% going in pre-tax, and then 5% is max pre-tax by my employer.
You've got a bunch of money that's in there already, right? The 200. If you look at the 200,000, when you said there's about 200,000 in there, how much of that 200 is Roth? How much is in traditional?
Roth is about 85, traditional is about 102.
I don't mind your split right now, actually. I mean, I would sort of lean towards if for example, okay, if your husband were out of work and your tax bracket dropped dramatically for some reason, it's never going below 22%. If you're in 22%, I'm fine with you being, doing all Roth. So I really am. But you've got like a nice allocation of pre and post tax. So in general, it kind of depends like if you're going to pop up in a tax bracket or not. So I think that the way you're doing it seems pretty reasonable to me. I lean more towards Roth as long as you're in 22% for sure.
Got it. Thank you very much.
If you would like to be like Jennifer, maybe she'll just give us lessons on how to get more comfortable with this whole Airbnb thing. Just give us a holler. Ask Jill at JillOnMoney.com. Ask Jill at JillOnMoney.com. And this virus is still raging. I know cases are coming down. I don't care. I've been double masking. I went to the grocery store at 6 o'clock this morning because I didn't want to be there when anyone else was there. And so I am washing my hands like crazy. I am double masking. I am maintaining my physical distancing. And if you can feel me out there, I am putting my hands metaphorically on your back. Could you do the same for someone else? We'd love that. We will talk to you tomorrow. Thank you so much for listening.